gain in those areas. I think Seattle and Washington as a whole has an opportunity to become very progressive and also be in the forefront of how to best regulate and integrate it into society as it exists.
Good afternoon, I'm Julie Renner. I'm a lawyer in Seattle. And as a divorce lawyer, I am concerned about domestic violence and substance abuse in the home and the adverse effects in the community. The balance, or the other side, would be if we effectively regulate and we tax, can we therefore justify the legalization? I think most of us are on board with medical legalization. I think we're pretty much in concert there. But as you go into the community, you wonder about the effect of substance abuse and violence.
What I have noticed is that every time someone talks on the microphone, we're getting a different perspective. And that is what I anticipated what would happen.
Yes, my name is Jeff Thurman, and I'm a native Seattleite. And I'm here to represent the community in the capacity of medical use and recreational use. I believe that it's way past time for us to deal with that, to move ahead. And I want to participate in any discussion where we're looking for ways to solve those problems. We're looking for ways to protect our community, as John says, and also make it fair and not stigmatized. So I came to get ideas and to listen to some positive conversation.
My name's Clem Rashad, and I'm other founder of Sky Movement. I'm a songwriter, artist, so I'm kind of like the voice of the youth and all that kind of stuff. So I'm around it as far as recreational purposes and for medicinal purposes. So I'm here to get a better insight so I can pass on the word to our youth and to the community. I'm getting in the community thing also. So I'm just trying to hear to get the pros and cons and just get a little bit of better insight and all that good stuff. So glad to be here.
Again, this is the Seattle Town Hall meeting in Cube 93. We're going to be talking about issues surrounding adult recreational use and medicinal use of marijuana. John, we just kind of took a litmus test for the community participation segment of this. What is your feeling in regards to recreational use, not just medicinal use, but recreational use as well of marijuana? Because we're not going to play games here. We know that yes, maybe legal, maybe we are at the point I want to ask again when we talk to City Attorney Holmes, is this really going to be legal medicinally? But there is no question that there is recreational use of marijuana.
Well, I don't think that you're absolutely correct. There's recreational use of marijuana, and I guess that is currently the bugaboo in the system. But really, the question you're talking about when you're talking about recreational use is not the use that seems to be the problem. It's the criminalization of the use that's the problem. People can have negative relationships with any substance, and marijuana is no different. However, the negative relationships that can happen with cannabis are certainly far less damaging than the associated arrest, jail time, and I have a lot of, from a recreational point of view, I have some big concerns with the youth, the younger folks, because what happens with cannabis, especially, and it's and if you look at the demographics, it's born by the poor, it's born by the people that don't have a lot, and it brings them into a system that is with them for the rest of their life. It brings them into a system where they may not be able to get money for school. It brings them into parole, so that the next, they are put into a system, given an attorney that's free but tells them to plea out. But when they plea, they are entered into this system that they don't understand. And if they get, in trouble again, they're into the system, they may no longer vote, and it's with them for the rest of their lives, having this criminal record about, and this is with a substance that is never had an overdose-related death. It's far safer, clearly, than most substances out there, including alcohol, except for the criminalization.
If anybody has any questions, I'm going to shut this down here in a second before we get started. But if you have any questions that you think that you might want brought up, if there's just something that you want to know, something that you want to hear from your fellow community members, now's the time. Yeah. And just state your name.
This is Donovan Rivers again. I am concerned about how I'm an advocate for law enforcement and the community. So for the last 35, 40 years. So my concern too is how the interaction is going to take place as far as how law enforcement will perceive this issue and how the community is going to be charged with these issues as we more legalize the usage of the drug. So this is something we need to talk about, and I need Peter Holmes to answer that for us, because I need them to progress as we progress, so we all progress together and have an understanding. That's where we have problems at, is one side has more information than the other, and the other side usually is charged for not having that information.
All right. Excellent question. Again, state your name.
Before Peter Holmes addresses that question here, once again, I'm Minister W.B. Patterson. I'm a clergyman and a social scientist of human geography. And I'm going to give a disclaimer here. Because I am who I am and know what I know and have made it my life to do this, and which brought me here, and I am a Black American Cushite descendant of slavery. And what I just shared with you was some recent findings on the origins of black people, and which is a whole nother show. But the city attorney is not competent enough to be able to answer that question because he doesn't have the information that he needs to. And we had a small conversation before the show started, and I was telling the few gentlemen here about how every elected official cannot tell us that what they don't know, they can't know what they don't know that they don't know. So you can't blame them. So that's why it's up to us to give him what he needs to know to formulate the policy to be inclusive of everybody here. And I have, and I'm not trying to corner the market, but I do have it cornered. And I'll tell you, like I told the Department of Corrections on the 3 strikes bill, when they asked the Senate Judiciary Committee asked the Department of Corrections about their assessment model. So the woman from the Department of Corrections, she kind of choked up, and I came to her rescue. I says, Mr. Chair, she can't answer that because I haven't given them the model yet. And they bought that. So that was January 19th, the Senate Judiciary hearing in Olympia. If you want to look at the tape and see what was said there. Now, what I did was feed some information into a process there. And nobody, and the chair says, does anybody have any questions for Minister Patterson? And the room was quieter than a church house mouse, and he was surprised. He says, what? Nobody has any questions? That's because nobody knows anything to ask a question about, okay? Especially to someone like me who just made a statement that all the information on planet Earth that I have had access to pertaining to any relevant problem, concern, or issues, I look at it and glean it through a cultural lens. Now, I have what I call my inclusion theory. Now, this trumps everything, and I'm teaching here. And because people aren't familiar or aren't accustomed to a 6'3", loud-talking, black-acting man coming out like this, they get intimidated and call security, and these are issues that we need to bring to the forefront here, okay? Because these are issues that I have identified as hindrances to us going anywhere with anything that we attempt to do. But in order for us to go somewhere with what we're attempting to do here, we need to be competent. We need to know what we're dealing with here. And I think it would be up to every group to assess themselves and see what is our use of marijuana. What does it entail? Write it down on paper. Go to some town hall meetings. If you can't write, go to a town hall meeting like this and let it get recorded digitally and give it to me, and then I'll give it to him. And then I'm challenging everybody. I have a 100% success ratio, and I'm looking for somebody to come and challenge me about this ratio, and nobody has. You know, I'm at the University of Washington, where some of the most brilliant minds in the world are at, and I talk out like this. At the first couple or 3 times I got kicked out of school, but after that, getting back in and still conducting myself in the same fashion, and I call it acting black. And a lot of people have a problem with that, because I've tested, this is my laboratory, and I say things to test people's reaction or response to it coming from me. So one instance is a big town hall meeting in Kane Hall, something similar to this, but a couple of, about 800 people. I walk up to the podium and then I say, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Del Patterson, which is another name I go by. I'm a geography major, and I'm a black man. And all of a sudden, I see the door starts opening up, and people start leaving. And you know, you wonder why. I'll tell you why. Because people have not ever been heard by black people bringing the truth to mainstream America. So if we cannot interject truth into this town hall model, then I have to leave. So Tony's been in a few meetings with me, and he's seen how people have reacted to me. I've been told to shut up, get out of here, you're out of order, you're disruptive. And what I have to say about that is, that's telling me that I'm not included, because what I'm bringing to the table is what all those young black gang members, and I hate the term gang member because there's a whole lot of gangs in our society, but blacks, when you say gang, what comes first and foremost to your mind is the young black guy, which terrorizes or puts fear into people. And people, it's just not included, but they're part of our society that we need to include, and they need to be heard from. So I'm speaking for them, okay? So I bring the way they act into the arena that other people would otherwise not have exposure to, you know. And my premise here is a no-fault premise. This ain't nobody's fault. But if I tell you this and you challenge me about this, and I show you my evidence and you still maintain the same mindset, then you got to take ownership to the problem. I never listen to anybody who has a complaint without a resolve to it. If you can come up with something wrong, you better be able to figure out how to solve it and be able to throw it on the table. That's what I call data. And I think I've said enough for here. And you guys just passed my test of not being able to, or not being told to shut up. I look at this one way. When you know as much as I know and have done as much as I've done, I'll be listening to you. Okay, I just said I have a 100% success ratio, and I want to challenge anybody to top that 100% success ratio. Now, if that isn't a motivation to rally the troops to the cause, I don't know what is. Thank you, Tom.
All right. Again, this is the audience participation point of our conversation, and that's why we make sure that we have audience participation exclusively so that your voice can be heard. And